Choosing a good LOS or loan originating software is very important. In this case right now we're going to go over Calyx Point. Calyx Point is pretty simple. It's for smaller businesses at the beginning. There's a lot of things that are easy to control or to verify. We're going to go through a quick review of how Calyx Point works and where you can go to find different things. So basically on the left you're going to be able to click on the loan application, which is very important. Here's the loan estimate, and here are other documents that you'll be able to obtain that you'll need during the process of approving borrowers. Right here where it says pre-qualification, pre-qualification is very important. When pre-qualifying a borrower, you want to be able to click on this and then print out the form so that you can provide this to realtors or to whoever needs this document so that the transaction can go through. On the top where it says, for example, file, this is where you're going to be able to save files. When you export, once you finish completing a file, you want to make sure that you always export as a Fannie Mae 3.2 file, because that way you're going to be able to upload this to different lender websites and send all the information that you already have over here that you've input over onto their website. So this is very important. And when you've worked the numbers on the lender's website and you need to import the 3.2 file back over to your website, you'd click on import after you save the file from their website back over here, and it'll be a Fannie Mae DO or DU file. Back over here a little bit up, you're going to see where it says print. This is where you're going to be able to do printing physical documents and also printing PDF documents. So this is very important as well. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click on save, and you save these files. If you have a new file, you click on new. When you create a new file, try to make sure that when you choose if it's going to be a prospect or a borrower is going to be somebody that already completed an application or that's given you all the necessary information to be able to be considered a borrower. When they're a prospect and they just want some general information and some numbers, then you can run some numbers by clicking on prospect. Over where it says edit, it means over here if you need to copy information, cut or paste different things. For marketing here, you'll be able to do a number of pretty cool things that you'll be able to generate, like the rent to own is very useful. When you go to print this, it's going to give you a nice worksheet to be able to provide future prospects that want to go ahead and probably purchase a home or refinance their home. Debt consolidation worksheet is also very nice, and my favorite is the amortization schedule, because that way you can show borrowers if they make additional payments to their mortgage just how fast they can finish paying off their mortgage, which is very useful. In terms of forms here are a lot of documents that possibly you might not have found on the left. Notice of action taken is very important. Usually when a loan is approved, denied, or withdrawn, there are different reasons as to how the action has been taken, and this is very important because when a borrower is buying a home and they need to cancel the purchase contract and they don't want to lose their deposit, you'd be able to generate right here a denial letter, and by providing that denial letter, the buyer will be able to cancel the contract and not lose their deposit as long as they're within the time frame established on the purchase contract. A little bit further up where it says a brokerage business contract, sometimes on certain deals you might need a brokerage business contract. This is very important, especially when you do hard equity loans or a commercial deal. You want to always make the borrower sign this document. When you do other deals, like for example when you do international construction deals, then you definitely always have to have this signed. It's very important. There's other documents as well that you can go over and go through. Like for example, the request for a tax return of 4506T. Most lenders request this on their side, but you might, if you're ever required to do this, you might be able to take care of this just going right here, and you'll be able to complete that as well. Going back up from forms to e-loan file. Now, Calyx Point has two, a computer-based and a web-based service. The computer-based is a lot less expensive. It's around almost $400 just to be able to download the software, and then you pay a monthly fee around $18 or $16. But if you do the web-based, you pay $1,500 plus, I think it's like, I can't remember exactly how much it is, but you need to verify, but it's around $100 per employee. So by having everybody download their own Calyx Point, it makes things a lot easier, and then just transfer the files by sending them through the, like I mentioned before, the Fannie Mae 3.2 file, having them save it on their computer and then sending it over to you through a secure server or secure files that you guys are sharing. You'll be able to transfer those files and have access to the file and make any changes you need to. But if you want to go the route of using the web-based and just everybody being able to log on to one website and being able to see their files and you being able to see all of their files, you can do it through here as well. So that's what the e-loan file is for. Now, in terms of tracking, this is very important. There are certain dates that you need to track, and you want to make sure that you're staying on top of, like providing the LE, the loan estimate in time, the closing disclosure in time. This is where you'd be able to go, and this is where you'd be able to check. For lenders, here they go ahead and they pre-establish certain lenders already here, just so you know how to do it and how they will appear. So you can see here there's Caliber. I work with Caliber Wholesale, with Deep Haven, with Plaza Home Mortgage, with Quicken Loans. There's a number of very good companies that you can use. Here, you'll be able to upload the file directly to their website by just going here. But a lot of times they let you go to their own website and upload it there as well, which I prefer to do most of the time. So that way I complete any additional information that they need. Services. Here is where you'll be able to get a lot of important information that sometimes you might not be able to request by simply doing it on your own. Here is, in terms of verifications, this is an important part where you're going to request any verifications that you need to make. This is for title and escrow. When you're requesting title, it's going to go ahead and when you request title, it's going to open a pop-up where it's going to allow you to access different companies and different services that you can use to be able to request title. And it'll let you choose what company you wanna contract or hire. But most of the time, in terms of title companies, either when on the purchase contract, you're going to see that there's a title company that's already determined by either the sellers or the buyers. Most of the time, the sellers, because they're the ones that are going to have to pay the title costs for the seller side, and the buyer doesn't want to have to pay both their costs and the seller side. So the seller is the one that usually chooses the title company. So most of the time, you won't have to access any of these companies for title. Initial disclosures, these are important as well. The flood certificate, the lender will normally request this. If you become a lender, then you'll be the one that requests the flood certificate. Credit reports. A lot of times for the credit reports, I use a really cool service which allows me to pull the borrower's credit report, or allows the borrower to accept to pull their own credit report through their pre-qualification, which I'll teach you later on in this course, instead of requesting it through here through Calyx Point. But if you want to pull credit through here and you want to see the borrower's credit, you can do it through here. Closing documents. This is more in terms of a lender or a correspondent lender, and you need to be able to provide the closing documents to a borrower. This is where you would go. An AVM report, now an automated valuation module, will allow you to go ahead and get an estimate of a property's value, but not necessarily is it going to be the actual appraisal. But if you're a lender and you need to request one, you can do it through here. Interfaces. Now, this is an important part of the loan process. This link will allow you to interface directly with Fannie Mae, with Freddie Mac, or Fannie Mae early check. What are these? Well, when you do a conventional loan, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are very important. They are the two main investors that purchase the loans back from the lenders. So if they approve the loan, then the lender will approve the loan the majority of the time, because they know that they'll be able to sell it to these companies. So this is important here. There's other interfaces that also as well a little bit further down, but the main ones are the ones on the top over here. Here's where you'd be able to choose if you want to add a second co-borrower, or a third co-borrower, fourth co-borrower, or even a fifth co-borrower. Now, there are situations where a borrower will need additional borrowers only to be able to qualify for a higher loan amount, or to simply qualify for the loan by adding income or increasing their income. Now, remember, by adding a co-borrower, even if they have more income, if their credit score is lower than the borrower's credit score, then that could affect the loan. So for example, if somebody has a 660 credit score and they add a co-borrower that has a 500 credit score, then the lender will always use the lower of the two credit scores. And this is very important to consider. When they have a lower credit score, then the loan isn't going to be done at all. So you want to make sure you find or the borrower finds a co-borrower that actually has a credit score that still remains within the lender's range of approval. If not, then you're not going to be able to do the loan at all. Utilities. For utilities, you're going to be able to use other web-based and laptop-based or computer-based services that you can use. The Calyx is like where you'll be able to save borrowers' information, be able to access it quickly. Now, over here on window, it just gives you basically how you want the Calyx Point files and structure to look. In terms of help, here's if you have any problems or you need any assistance from Calyx Point. Going back to utilities over here, this is something you're going to need to do. If you want to enter your company's information so that you can have all the information auto-populate on all the forms, like your company name, your address, which on certain forms you'll be required to, like the 1003, this is where you would click on company defaults. And then you go on to company information, and it'll ask you for the NMLS ID, the address, the name, the phone number of the company, and this is where you'd be able to put this information. This is very important. You need to be able to enter this before you have any documents printed and submitted to any of the borrowers. Now, this company information, you want to make sure you verify the company's tax ID so that you have the correct tax ID and that you have the correct NMLS ID. A little bit further down on the right, you're going to be able to see the current status of the loan, and it's going to give you some general information. So this is how Calyx Point basically works in general from an administrative point of view. And a lot of the things that appear here in the middle are also things that you'll be able to use, like the calculator, and here's the Calyx. But a lot of these things also appear here on the top. Now, make sure you shop around and you check what company is the best fit for you. I chose Calyx Point simply because I had more experience and I've used it before, so I used Calyx Point. But you can try different companies. It's not something that you have to do. There's others that are web-based that might be a little bit less expensive and possibly work a little bit better.